have to do this alone. You have me, Tara, and a flying ball of fur.
Welcome into another edition of Box Office Quarterbacks. I'm Jeff, that's Gerald. Today we are talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, the third adaptation of Avatar, coming off the Nickelodeon original animated series that ran from 2005 to 2008. The what I hear was a very horrible adaptation in 2010 by M. Night Shyamalan, and now 2024, a Netflix 8-episode live-action adaptation. We'll touch on all of them, but we're mostly going to focus on the live action. I was not familiar with Avatar. I think by the time it came out, I was already in high school, and I thought I was too cool for everything on Nickelodeon besides Drake and Josh. But I love this. I really did, Gerald. And as far as like anime goes, it takes a lot for that to catch my attention. I love this so much that I started watching the animated series. What did you think of Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Just I was kind of like you. Like I really didn't watch the original show growing up, and I've seen the first season now. I binged it after this, much like you, for different reasons. But um, it does well in a lot of things and not well in a lot of other things, if that makes sense. I can understand where some of the outrage comes from the anime fans, the original, especially if you've been there since the whole time. But I also don't think it's that validated, and I'll get to that soon.
Yeah, and like Gerald was talking to me about it because Gerald did binge the first season of the anime. I watched the first 3 episodes, but within those first 3 episodes, you can tell that um, there was a lot, put on the chopping block when it comes to character development, especially Aang. Like he has a crush on Katara. He's just his story's more emotional there, I think, as opposed to kind of getting thrown into it here, where it's like, hey, my temple fell. I am the last of the airbenders, and now I'm the Avatar. That's all in the first 30 minutes of episode one. So I can definitely see what you were coming from there.
Yeah, and I mentioned this in the text, but it's really interesting. So I'm going to do this, see if this will actually work on the cameras. But there were 8 episodes, and each episode was about 55 minutes. That
Ooh.
brings us 440 minutes of content, Avatar, correct? And as you mentioned, we missed a lot of crucial character development. Now, as you also mentioned, I binged the animated show recently, and I saw this in another TikTok video. Actually, somebody else pointed this out. But there are 20 episodes in the first season, and they run for about 22 minutes each. Um, Whoops, let me redo that. 20 times 22, 440 minutes. They had
Oh.
the same exact runtime, and they still fucked up the character development. And I don't understand why. Because watching the animated version, there was a lot more character development between the main trio. And it's really upsetting to see that they weren't able to get it fully in there. And then some of the things they took out wouldn't have added any more time and wouldn't have taken away from anything. For example, at the end of season one of the anime, Katara has a fight with the master waterbender, and at the end of that fight, he realizes this deep personal connection he has to Katara and her family, which then allows him to really open his eyes and let her in to become a warrior. And then she ends up training some of the men before the battle ever starts. Instead, for some reason, they had her give a big speech, and then he never actually was in love with her grandmother. So you see how they could have used the same amount of time, and it made no sense as to why they changed it, other than I don't know, whatever, the writers just wanted to make sure they weren't just regurgitating the same thing but with actual people this time and not cartoons.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Shout out to all the math teachers. We used a real life word problem for the first time ever since graduation. So we did it.
No, but
It finally happened.
you know what I did have a calculator in my pocket.
Hey, well, not everything ages well, right? The anime did age well. This show, I don't think the CGI is as bad as people are saying it is. I do think that some of the air bending and the water bending look beautiful, especially the finale when Katara is going to learn about the healing of the water, and then Aang turning into a huge kaiju monster at the end. I thought was really cool. There's a lot that happens if you like look down at your phone for 4 seconds, you miss something. I missed a lot of stuff that way, and I had to rewind a lot because I did miss a lot. Um, I think that overall, that like the three leads were likable. I know Sokka got on my nerves a lot, but other than that, I think everybody does a really good job in this show. I do like, you know, Prince Zuko. I think he's a very dynamic character, and Uncle Iroh as well. Not really any bad characters here, Gerald. I think there's a lot of characters that aren't really fleshed out the way they could, though. And I'm talking about Prince Zuko's sister, who is just kind of there
Well,
and
in the
angry. And
anime, she's only kind of there for like a few episodes too in the first season.
yeah,
Um, and I think it'll be interesting to dive into that and her relationship and see if Zuko ends up trying to join the Team Avatar. I guess is what they're calling it. I don't know. But and like you said, I really like the bending. The bending actually got me excited for my boy Naruto's movie coming out because if we can finally make something like that look good, just wait until we start getting Rasengan, Chidori, Fireball Jutsu, like some of the it excited me to say the least. So like if we can get that to look good, Naruto can look good. I do think that some of the scenes, and I get that they're on sets and that they're CGI backgrounds and all that good stuff, but especially like some of the scenes, like when they were like in the South Pole and the North Pole, it looked borderline Once Upon a Time level CGI, and I'm talking like you can tell that's a green screen because even the green screen looks like it's green screening on it after editing. Um, it just looks very flat and fake in the background at times, and it's fine because the acting's still good enough to where it gets past it. Um, and they also just did things out of order. They did some things weird as shit. We get a Secret Tunnels song in episode what 2?
Mhm.
Secret Tunnels is season 2. Them doing that was them telling me, I don't know if we're going to get a season 2, so let's see if we can just get this reference in there for the fans. Because that's like season 2, episode 2 or 3. So like if they had thought they were even going to get a season 2, they probably wouldn't have. They probably would have just been like, let's just wait for that to be season 2. Secret Tunnels wasn't supposed to be there. Also, Boomy, whenever he does these challenges with Avatar, it is much better in the anime because in the anime you don't realize that it is not told to you that Boomy is the king. It is hidden from you the entire time. On top of that, Boomy traps Katara and Saku in a rock formation that, as time goes on, it's going to continue to suffocate them and kill them. So Aang's having to do these minuscule tasks, these crazy tasks, and then has to fight Boomy at the end just so Boomy says like you needed to do this to become ready for to become the Avatar. Now I can welcome you back as my old friend. It's fucking cute and amazing, and the way they did it was stupid. You took Secret Lovers, you did the Lovers Tunnel with Sokka and with a brother and sister for some reason, and then you
Ooh,
put Avatar by himself, not having to seriously grow. Throughout season 1, Avatar Aang also didn't do jack shit. Aang didn't waterbend once and he didn't firebend once. In the first 17 episodes of anime, he waterbends and he starts firebending. Where the fuck was that?
yeah.
So like there are things that are just like completely out of order, completely out of whack, and then also just things that they didn't do, and it's like why was that the thing you didn't do? When again, as we mentioned, we already know they had the same runtime.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife watched the original series and she said that wow, they are approaching this very fast. Like they are blowing through the source material here. The Boomy stuff was crazy because I didn't see it coming. I was like, this is obviously a young actor portraying a very old man, and I wondered why. And then I found out why, and it blew my mind. Um, I did like the episode where they're going into the spirit world and there's this like crazy monster lurking behind every single corner. I thought that was a standout episode. Um, but even just having watched 3 episodes of the anime, like you get more character development by episode 3 for minor characters like Momo, who is like a non-speaking pet in this. Like you
Yeah,
feel more for him by the end of episode 3 than you do throughout this series until the last episode when he gets smashed by the rock. Um, you know, I liked it. I can see where people might not be down for this adaptation, but having looked at the M. Night Shyamalan version of this a little
Mhm.
bit, this is a huge improvement. They
Yes.
casted that fucking guy from Twilight, Gerald, who can't act. What's his name? Jackson Rathburn, the one who always looks like he's in pain. Whatever. They put him as Sokka in that movie, and they said he was not funny at all. He had no emotion. Um, M. Night Shyamalan was just a weird choice for
I'd
the
have to watch
director.
that. I might have to
Yeah,
watch that one.
yeah.
The
We can
Shyamalan's
watch
a
it.
weird choice for that one. I'm not going to watch
Yeah,
and review it. No, I'm not. That would be bad.
yeah.
No, yeah. It the show was good, but it wasn't great. It was good because it holds on to the actual story of what the first season of Avatar is, and that is the fact that Avatar is back. People are chasing after him, and one person says, "Screw it! Why chase after him when I can just take out an entire more tribe?" It deals with genocide. It deals with war. It deals with being victims. It deals with women, equality with women and men. So like it deals with a lot of things. So and it holds those things true from the anime to the live action. So that's why the live action is still good. It's still, and it's a good way to get somebody who doesn't want to watch animation to admit that they like something that is just animation. Just they just brought it over here. But it's not good in the things that they changed
Yeah.
because that tells me that the writers just sucked.
Yeah, it seems like they try to streamline it to where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna appease Avatar fans, and we're gonna appease all the parents or whoever, people like me who have just started watching this a few days ago." But um, yeah, any characters that stood out? Who are your favorite characters of this show?
Maybe soccer right now. Maybe soccer right now. I'm not sure about this Aang. Aang in the anime, it seems Aang comes off very, and that's source material, right? So like, it sounds like I'm bitching every time it's like in the anime he does this, but like that is the source material. The founders and the creators of Avatar created this shit to be an animated television show. So their source material is not written word, it's not TV, it's not a movie. Like it is the fucking animated, and and that even though Aang is still admittedly a child, still needing to learn things, when it's time to battle, there's almost no question for him. He knows what to do. He's smart as hell. Um, he progresses throughout the first season, and he also has like this cocky confidence to him when it comes to certain things. Um, Even just like the way he flirts with Katara. Um, None of that is present. So as much as I would love to love Aang, because it's not like the young actor who's portraying him. Sorry, I don't have his name. Is doing a bad job. It's not that I think he's doing a bad job. I think that the writers are trying to change Aang foundationally a little bit, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I could see that. I did like the Fire Nation characters a little bit better here. I like Prince Zuko and Uncle Iroh. Like there was, I think the penultimate episode when you find out, how Zuko got his scar and
Mm-hmm.
that whole backstory. I thought it was heartbreaking. And I was like, man, these two guys are acting their asses off here.
And that was
Um,
my favorite addition in the live action because in the anime, and I just watched this like 2 days ago, so forgive me. Um, but they don't mention directly that the squad that he was standing up for ends up being the squad that he takes on this fucking trip.
yeah,
And they mentioned that in the live action, and I like that because
that's a
I
good
think it was
change.
like
Yeah.
lowly implied, but like I don't think it was like fully implied, and they did that in here, and that's one thing I like.
Yeah. And they even like have like a general character who I thought was pretty good. But I liked Appa uh because I like animals and he reminded me of my dog Copper. So liked him a lot. Liked Momo. It's just a sucker for animals, I guess. But yeah, that's who I like season 1. I'm definitely excited for season 2 and 3, Gerald. But what would you give this on the box office QB's rival scale if you were to rank this?
It's a starter. Like that's I think that's all you can do right now. There's still some issues with some of the CGIs. There's still some issues with the pacing, character development. Um, there were things that it did that were like amazing, like the what's it called, the face stealing ghost. Although it was super early in the show to have him show up when he showed up, and his life was a little different. I think he's scarier in the anime because in the anime, like he doesn't just like web you up like a big ass spider and wait to eat you. Like if you make a facial expression, he steals your face. You're fucked. So
Shit.
like Aang has to like completely go to this man and like kill himself basically with not doing any facial expressions. That's scarier. But the cinematography was pretty fucking terrifying still in the live action. But I'm still going with the starter. I think they have some things they got to fix. From what I hear, season 2 of the anime is even better with an even scarier situation. So I'm excited to see what happens there.
Yeah. I want to give it an all-star, like a low all-star, just because it really did capture my attention here in a genre that it's not really a genre that I latch on to very easily, but to get my attention, to get me interested in watching the original show, I think that speaks volume to what the writers cooked up here. And I'm going to discover, how it compares as I watch season 1 of Avatar. But yeah, I'm excited that not only do we get a season 2, we get a season 3, because that's the problem with Netflix. Netflix will throw out a show and cancel it within one season, so you can't get attached. So here, you can get a little bit attached and you can learn a little bit more about the world. So I am excited that this is coming back. But yeah, Gerald, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
All good.
All right. Well, finally, we are going to get back to the movie theaters very, very soon. We have Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire that comes out next week, I think. And then we have Kong and Godzilla. We also have the X-Men animated series revival coming back. So finally, we have some stuff on the docket to talk about. But this has been another edition of Box Office Quarterbacks. I'm Jeff. That's Gerald. We'll talk to you guys very, very soon.